You know, it took me a little while to figure out why AI Limit wasn't bigger than it was when it came out, because the game is really good, but I think I've finally realized what the problem is. You know Asteria, the main anime lady who shows up every few minutes to lore dump you? She has absolutely no feet, thus greatly hampering the ability of the game to capitalize on the Gunner market, which, let's face it, is like most of the people who play Souls-likes. Not you, of course, watching this video. Uh... Greetings, Bladers. My name is Kamikaze, and 2025 has been a year of surprises for me. There have been a bunch of games that I either had low expectations for and proved me wrong, or came out of nowhere. AI Limit falls under both of these categories, and I'm giving it an early nomination for best game I thought would be terrible, but isn't. I heard nothing about this game prior to its release. In fact, I only saw it on Steam about a month after its release. And when I did see it, I thought, oh great, another post-apocalyptic anime sci-fi Souls-like, as if there weren't already about 500 of those. And it's a half-priced game made by some unknown studio. This is just bad vibes all around. And the crazy thing is, I was right for like the first half hour. This game makes a terrible first impression. You click New Game, and there is a quick intro cutscene that explains the world was cool until it got invaded by mud.
A mysterious black mud crept forth, corroding the land inch by inch.
Yeah, mud, like dirt, wet dirt, mud is the big existential threat that has destroyed the world. Now, okay, the mud does spawn monsters out of it, and also it's food and can power mechanical things, and yeah, I don't know either. After the cutscene, though, you wake up as a generic amnesiac anime girl, and then wander around a sewer for a while. You fight generic, indistinct, red, blobby enemies. None of them pose a threat at all. They're extremely slow and don't do very much damage. Eventually, you'll stumble upon a generic robot mini-boss, who you kill in about 2 hits, which also isn't very exciting. This level is about as boring as it gets. Everything is just gray, narrow tunnels. It's uninspired, uninteresting. Down one of these samey gray tunnels, though, you encounter Asteria the Branch Weaver, your first important NPC. She dies, for some unspecified reason, but not before telling you that you are a blader. A blader is a human, kind of, but not really. You look like a human, but you're actually made out of mud. Somehow. And you're immortal. If struck down, you will revive at the nearest branch. What's a branch? Oh, for Christ's sake. It's Dark Souls, but with plants. A branch is a bonfire, life dew is your Estus flask, pots of soil are your Estus shards, etc., etc. And yes, they gave bonfires plot relevance, which I don't know how I feel about that. They're important because besides being your checkpoints, they also restore some of your lost memories. So before she suddenly dies, Asteria tells you that your most important goal is to find more branches. Also, I will say, I don't know who made this game, but I respect them, because Asteria is a tall anime girl who, well, she doesn't have any feet. And, props for that. Anyway, not the point. But, like, find more branches is the hook that's supposed to get me excited to keep playing the game. I was already gonna do that because they're the checkpoints. And also, I know what's wrong with the world. You already told me in the opening cutscene. I don't need to find my memories to know that. It's the mud. You said that. I don't want to keep playing to, like, explore the world, because all you've shown me is a disgusting gray sewer. You just wander down corridor after corridor until... Wait, what is... Is that Mecha Godzilla? Holy cow, we found some personality. Yes, some excitement. You have to dip and dive down this hallway as Mechagodzilla blasts at you. Duck through this little side door, and then he's gone. Back to the sewers and kill some more boring enemies. At this point, the only thing keeping me going was the hope of a boss fight against Mechagodzilla. I did not get that. Instead, I got a boss fight against Lore, the Lost Lancer. And while it might not be Mechagodzilla, it was a pretty cool boss fight, I can't lie. He's pretty fast, he's got some big jumpy flippy moves, and he is vital in teaching you the importance of parrying in this game, which I will talk about more in a minute. But after you defeat him, he drops a key. And this key was my biggest disappointment with the game. Partway through the sewer level, you find a door. The door is locked. There's a note on the door that says you need to find the Captain Lore who has the key. As you progress through the level, there are several notes and references to said key and how important it is. Well, I beat him, I got his key, so I activate 100% of my brain power and remember, hey, the locked door with the note about the key. I backtrack all the way through this confusing maze of a level, reached the door, and nothing. The key doesn't work. I'm crushed. Now, it does turn out there's another key elsewhere that's like hidden behind Mechagodzilla, but then why would there be all these notes talking about Lore having the key if he doesn't drop the key? Anyway, I branched back to the Lore arena and carried on, truly defeated. Things turned around, however, when I reached the ladder at the end of the tunnel and began to climb. And as I did, okay, nice, that's a pretty solid title drop. And we've got some color in here, thank God. Once we get past that sewer level, all of my complaints with this intro go away. More enemy variety, more difficulty, and more interesting designs. The levels open up with lots of different sprawling pathways and secrets, and they become a lot more visually interesting than a cramped sewer. The story, while certainly never the strong point, does gain some layers when you're introduced to the pilgrims and the church. There are even some pretty likable NPCs. Shout out to my homegirl, Phalia.
You're too slow.
All of this is cool, but it's not why AI Limit is good. The real reason it's good is because of the combat. I mean, it is a Souls-like. It's not exactly a genre known for its intricate story or characters. It is your typical Soulsy thing, you know, light attack, heavy attack, block, parry, dodge, stamina management. Try not to... Wait a second. I'm being informed that this is not a stamina bar. I repeat, AI Limit absolutely shatters the mold by not having a stamina bar. Instead, this bar that keeps bouncing up and down during combat is your sync bar. A pretty cool mechanic. The higher the bar is, the more damage all of your attacks do. Hitting enemies fills the bar, getting hit drains it. But, crucially, you can also spend your sync meter on spells and special weapon attacks. When the bar is below 50% in this dark gray zone, you cannot use any spells or specials, and it will slowly recharge on its own. I was a bit iffy on this at first, because the first area poses almost no challenge whatsoever, and you can just kind of ignore it. But once the challenge picks up a little bit, managing this bar becomes really important. The better you are at not getting hit and using your abilities wisely, the more meter you'll have, the more damage you'll do. There are some pretty cool spells, including Terra Inferno, which is awesome, but honestly, I used the starting railgun spell about 99% of the time. It's very fast, does good damage, and it's nice having a ranged attack. And also, you don't have to invest very many points for it to be really effective. On top of spells, you will also have your frame abilities. See this weird arm you've got here, your left arm? Yeah, so it turns out it's a cool Nero arm with powers of its own. 4 of them specifically that you can switch between on the fly. A shield that charges up when walking and then does a big kaboom when fully charged. A quick sidestep that, if timed properly, does a little bit of lightning damage. A seppuku kind of move that does damage to you, but then gives all of your attacks the piercing effect, which, if you've played Elden Ring, is basically bleed. And finally, the parry. It's definitely the best one. It is what it sounds like. It's a parry, like Dark Souls, or actually it feels a lot like the Bloodborne with the gun. But the thing is, almost everything can be parried, including bosses. And the parry window is pretty generous, which is why I compare it more to Bloodborne. I'm usually terrible at parrying in these games, but I was able to pull it off pretty consistently. And I think that segues nicely to the fact that this game is not that hard. Soulslikes are a genre known for their difficulty, but I actually got this one done without too much trouble. I still definitely died here and there, don't get me wrong. And the Cleansing Knight in particular, I think I died to about 20 times before I got his parry timings down, but in general, not too bad. This is not a complaint, by the way. Not every game has to be Sekiro or Lies of P. It's just, especially in this particular genre, which again is known for its difficulty, I feel like I should mention that. Also, I have been playing Night Rain for like the last month straight, so I've kind of been practicing, so do perhaps take that into account. Let's talk about weapons. You'll notice pretty quickly that there are a ton of weapons in the game. Kind of. There are actually like 6 different categories of weapons, and every weapon you find will fall into one of these categories. Every category has the same moveset except for the skill, which the skilled is a big super attack that consumes a chunk of your sync meter. Other than that, you have a light attack, a heavy attack, and a jumping and like running attack, which are pretty cool. So, AI limit. I really enjoyed this game. The craziest part to me too is that it isn't even a full price release. It's like $50. But it's well made, it runs well, which is nice. It looks good, and it's just a solid game. I don't think it does anything super revolutionary, but the sync meter is a pretty cool mechanic that introduces some variety. If you're into Souls-likes, you'll probably enjoy this game. So, my name is Kamikaze, that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I am almost at 1,000 subs, and I would like to hit that, at some point, so subscribe. And I'll have more videos out soon. Goodbye.